Morning and welcome to Franklin and CycleWorks. My name is Jonathan Youngman. I'm the executive director here, and it's my privilege and honor to welcome you all for this press conference. We here at Franklin and CycleWorks are all about helping people overcome transportation barriers. We do that by providing access to bikes, bike repair education, and bike repair assistance, and building a positive cycling culture here in Columbus. A decade ago, the founders of FCW recognized that many people in our community and other downtown neighborhoods around Columbus struggle to get where they need to go on a daily basis. Cars are expensive. Owning and operating a car is expensive. And for a lot of folks, that's just not a reliable form of transportation. But bikes can provide a way forward. Whether it's biking a few miles to work or biking to a bus stop, a bike can be a solution. And that's what we're all about here, helping people get where they need to go so that they can achieve stability and success. And that's why we're so excited to partner with the city on this e-bike incentive program. The missions are aligned, and we're so excited to help people overcome those transportation barriers, access bikes, and start getting where they need to go so that they can achieve success in their own life. All right, so with that, I think I'm handing it over to somebody. Is that right? Council President Sharon Hardin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Jonathan, for hosting us today, but also for the great partnership in getting us here, to my friend Jordan Davis with Smart Columbus, with Mr. Gino Tucker, with Urban Scouts. We're just really proud of this partnership, very proud of this partnership. So we've all seen the projections around the growth that Central Ohio will experience over the next several years. If each of those new folks drives a car, we'll spend a lot more time in traffic. As our city continues to grow, we have to adopt new modes of transit to get those people where they're trying to go in an effective and, as Jonathan said, in a cost-efficient way. That's why you've heard me talk so much about Link Us, and that's our plan to transform our regional transportation system by creating frequent and reliable transit along the busiest and fastest growing corridors of our city. But this is about more than just buses and cars. We need to give people more options by building up our bike infrastructure here in Columbus. That's why next week, Columbus City Council will pass a capital budget. And in that capital budget, we will vote for more than $16 million of spending on 17 different bikeways projects around our city. That's in addition to things like the Vision Zero Action Plan, which includes 25 miles of projected bike lanes, like we did just over a few weeks ago on Long Street, thanks to my good friend and the chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. But we also want to increase demand and grow new bike ridership. The last 2 years have seen electric bikes or e-bikes skyrocket in popularity for good reason. This is a bike with a battery and a small motor that helps you pedal faster and farther without braking or sweating, so you don't have to change your clothes as you get to work. This is truly another mode of transportation to move folks. And our goal is to encourage a significant number of our residents to make e-bikes their preferred method of getting around for commuting on short trips or getting to work, like I said. So if we do this, we will see great benefits. First, we'll see cost savings, as we talked about. Since it's much cheaper compared to owning a car, e-bike riders save thousands of dollars on fuel maintenance. We, as a city, will reduce traffic and parking congestion, especially during peak hours, and will reduce carbon emissions and our carbon footprint, which is a huge part of our city's sustainability goals, and will reduce air pollution, which we've seen over the last few weeks is a growing problem across our country. That's why dozens of cities and states are partnering with bike shops and starting discount programs to help residents buy e-bikes, to make sure every resident, regardless of income level, can take advantage of this option. So I am so excited to tell you that next week Columbus will become one of those places too, partnering with local bike shops to make sure in an equitable way that folks have this great option in getting around our great city. And so one of the programs that we looked at as we modeled our program that really inspired us was the city of Denver. In Denver, their city helped create nearly 6,000 e-bike riders in their city. And so, and in Denver, e-bikes now replace over 100,000 vehicle miles per week. Those are the type of goals that we're going for. We want to really have an impact in our community. We think this partnership will do so. I'm so excited about this partnership. It brought together technology. It brought together thoughtfulness and making sure that everybody had access to this new form of transit. This, we think, is a win-win-win for our community. And so I'm really excited. I am so grateful for the leadership of my colleague who really was the peddler to get this project going, my colleague and chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
Thank you, Council President. And thank you again, Jonathan, for opening up your community house to all of us today. When I was a young person growing up on the east side of Columbus, cycling was the way that I explored. It was the way that I got around to the pool, to the rec center, to my first job, my babysitting job in other parts of the east side. As the daughter of two parents that were working full time, with only one parent that drove, I often talk about how my mother's, our family's second car was a Coda bus. It was either biking or taking the bus to get to where I needed to go until I turned 16. And then I, like most of the city, gave into a driving culture because for a long time, Columbus has been car-centric. We've not had the infrastructure or the culture of ensuring that people are safe and that they see cycling as a main mode of transportation for where they need to go, whether that's work, whether that's play, whether that is the only mode of transportation that you have to get to where you need to go. And so this effort, along with the other efforts that we've been making in partnership with the Department of Public Service, is really about building infrastructure for the Columbus of tomorrow. It's about partnering with our cycling community that have helped to inform the decisions that we are making, that have for a very, very long time, been advocating for a group of folks in our community that have used cycling as a main form of transportation. Even my aide, my husband, was a cyclist when we were a one-family household, cycling from the south side all the way to OSU. But now we're at a precipice as a city where we are experiencing an unreal population growth that we really need to invest in our infrastructure to ensure that people are getting to where they need to go safely and efficiently. And that's what e-bikes, this program, is really about. It's about ensuring that no matter who you are and what part of Columbus you live in, every corner of Columbus, people can access this bike. A couple things about this program. It is a pilot. So there is going to be imperfections. I'm going to say that right away. But what it's going to do is inform the next wave of what this looks like for our city. If we want to reach numbers like Denver, we need to start somewhere, and this is where we're starting. So if you don't get into this round, that does not mean that this is not going to be accessible to you. Also, e-bikes is where we're starting. What I understand is also being the chair of Veterans, Senior, and Disability Affairs is that people need other forms of transportation than a traditional two-wheel bike to get to where they're going. So we are looking at other forms of cycling, tricycles, other forms of wheels to get you to where you need to go. So no matter your age, no matter your ability, your physical ability, you too can have a way to get to the places that you need to go. In addition to the e-bikes program, we are making significant investments in tactical urbanism. These are quick roadway solutions, while longer-term solutions are coming to make our roadways safer. This also includes things like protected bike lanes. We started with a pilot on Long Street. Later in the year, we'll do another pilot on the north side using other materials. This will help to inform how we continue to keep people safe, whether you're on 2 feet, 2 wheels, 4, or more. In addition to that, we've also made some significant investments you'll start to see around the city of Columbus with bike lockers, ensuring that once you ride your bike to where you go, you can get that bike back, right? That you can safely put it away. So putting bike lockers in key areas of the city, using different materials that are locally sourced for how we keep those bikes secured and where people can access them. You're going to continue to see these changes and these investments through City Council because, again, we believe that equity is really meeting people where they are and that everyone is not going to always have a car. So efforts like Vision Zero, keeping our people safe, Link Us, moving our people more efficiently, and cycling, and making sure that we're combining the first 2 points in with our biking infrastructure is going to be key to our success as a city. So I want to, in just a second, you're going to hear a little bit more about, as we talk about young people and cycling, I'm excited to have our friend Gino Tucker here to talk a little bit about what cycling means and ensuring that we are building a culture of cycling. And then you're going to hear from Jordan Davis about the specifics about this program. But to the point of ensuring that people are safe, in addition to the rebate, folks will also receive an additional $200 credit for safety gear to make sure that while you're cycling, you do have a helmet, you have everything that you need to be safe while you're on that bike, moving at much faster speeds than a regular bike. And then secondly, you'll get a complimentary tune-up to be used within the first 90 days of having the bike. So this, again, is our effort at saying it's not just about giving you the bike to move quickly, but ensuring that you're safe while you're riding the bike. So I want to again thank all of our partners who have been part of this effort to help us ensure that we are building the Columbus of tomorrow, that people are safe and they're moving and we're moving our people. This effort is centered directly on the people and the citizens of Columbus, and I'm very excited for that. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Gino Tucker from Urban Scouts. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. I'm Gino Tucker, the CEO and founder of Remember Us Urban Legends, formerly Remember Us Urban Scouts. And first off, I would just want to thank City Council for always supporting us and our kids. The communities and the kids need you, and you listened and been providing support since we started. Also, Franklinton Cycle Works. Jonathan is our premier bike sponsor. He has given us over 100 bikes since we started 3 years ago. And Jonathan, we sincerely thank you. It's a lot of kids that now have transportation that they didn't have, and they learn how to ride bikes. So a little bit more about just the significant investment that City Council is making. It's important that our young people know how to get around Columbus. With lift restrictions, they're no longer allowed to ride in lifts unaccompanied without an adult. And that's similar to riding bikes, right? Families love to ride together. Part of the challenge is a lot of adults do not have the bikes to ride with the kids, or the kids do not have bikes. This incentive will allow for families to be able to start being transported with the e-bikes, with the cargo carriers, allow them to transport their kids. Not only the infrastructure creates that safety. Our kids don't feel safe in the streets. And if they don't feel safe, they're not going to ride their bikes. If we do not create and instill the culture of recognizing and respecting pedestrian and cyclists, the city will not. And thank you again for this infrastructure because it keeps our kids safe. And that's all we want. Remember Us Urban Legends provides bike training and bike rides monthly to expose the community to different routes to ride the trails, to different routes to ride around the city, to get to things that they frequent the most, such as school, corner stores, rec centers. And with this infrastructure investment, now our kids will allow to be safe, and parents will feel more comfortable riding with their kids. Not only riding with their kids, but riding to work. Cycling has significant health benefits. And if we do not start to introduce this to our younger population, one of our most vital populations, we're going to miss out. So again, thank you. And we appreciate the support that you continue to provide to Remember Us Urban Legends and the City of Columbus.
Thank you, Gino, and thank you to Columbus City Council for their vision and leadership of this program. We will be the first in the state of Ohio to do an e-bike incentive program, but not the first in the country. And we're fortunate to learn from those best examples in Denver and other places around the country to do this with people at the center. And we're really making equity a priority in how we administer and deliver this program. We're grateful for and proud to be a partner with Columbus City Council. Smart Columbus really is this collaborative innovation lab that exists to anticipate and advance what's new and next at the intersection of technology and community good. And this program is using new battery technology to bring cycling to even better use cases like commuting, replacing car trips that we've talked about, but also it can bring equity. But we have to lower the price point on these devices in order to make it more attainable for more residents in our community. So we're excited to announce that residents can enroll in the program on July 10th at columbusebikes.com. At columbusebikes.com, residents will be able to fill out a form that proves their residency in the city of Columbus and shares their income of validation. From there, the households and those over the age of 18, households will be eligible for an incentive if they make under $150,000 a year. Incentives will be on a sliding scale from up until $150,000 a year, from $500 to $1,200 off an e-bike. Those incentives will be awarded 2 weeks after the enrollment date, and the goal for that is to really take a balanced approach. We anticipate a very high demand for a limited selection of incentives. We anticipate giving between 100 and 150 incentives to residents, and we will start, the first batch will be awarded at the end of July, and then from there on a weekly basis moving forward. If residents have questions, they can communicate with us by columbusebikes.com, and we will also be ensuring that safety is a priority in the program. As you've heard, the city is making incredible investments, and those announcements will come hand in hand with this program, but we can use the additional $200 for helmets and bike locks as well. At this time, we can take any additional questions about the logistics of the program or how the program will be administered.
What's the overall cost and how does it break down? Like, is it coming from city council or there's other sources of funding?
Yep, so we set aside dollars from City Council to put towards this initiative. And again, this is a pilot initiative, and this will help to inform what this will look like in our next round of ensuring that we can get more e-bikes on the road for folks.
I had a question about charging the bike. Is it like once you reach your destination, such as a park, do you just need to plug it into any outlet?
Yeah, do you want to?
I'm sorry.
Charging the bike.
Yeah.
Like once you reach your destination, such as a park, is it just plugging it into any outlet?
Yeah. So the bikes that we're selling and a lot of the bikes that the other bike shops will be selling get 40 miles per charge. So for most people, they're going to be able to comfortably get where they need to go and then back home at the end of the day. But yeah, these plug into a wall so you can pretty much charge them wherever you find yourself. Yeah.
I would like to make also one quick other plug. We do have our KOGO bike program that folks can sign up for a KOGO membership. So if there are folks who might be hesitant who want to try an electric bike and see how it works, you can go on the KOGO app and you will see, it will indicate where there are electric bikes. So we have regular bikes as part of the KOGO program, and then we also have electric bikes. So folks want to give it a try to see what it feels like. I will say that I would not consider myself the most in shape person on bike to work day. I biked from Franklin Park all the way to downtown. It was a smooth, much easier ride. I was actually smoking some of our cyclists. They were a little bit jealous. So I highly recommend if folks have not tried an e-bike, it's an easy way for you to get a ride and to see what the experience is like.
And I would just add, KOGO is one of our partners as well, and currently right now they have free memberships for anyone that signs up. So look for Urban Legends or any other additional partners. We can give y'all some free memberships. It's a year-long membership where you get unlimited 45-minute rides on any classic and 10 cents a mile for any e-bikes. So as Councilwoman said, if you're looking to try it before you buy it, KOGO is the way to go.
Why are you guys pushing for e-bikes compared to any other kind of mode of transportation?
Well, as we talked about, We see e-bikes and biking in general not as just a leisure activity, but as a way to commute and to get places. One of the parts of this program will be for bikes that have carriages, as Gino talked about, so folks can use that to actually go to the grocery store and bring home groceries or transport or start a small business where you deliver things. And so we see the e-bikes as a new transit option, a new mobility mode in our city that, as Councilmember Barosa de Padilla talked about, we have to build the infrastructure for, so then we can have more folks using it. We see this as a way to reduce cars, to lower emissions in our community. But the thing that I am most proud about this program and what happens when we watch other communities build their programs is the intentionality in making sure that this is equitable. This bike in front of us, I think it says $1,300. For the folks on the lower income scale in our program, they could receive $1,200 for that bike, plus the additional support for the tune-ups and the safety gear. So we're really trying to lower that barrier so that everybody has an option, this option to get around our community.
I'm sorry. Can they use, I mean, these bikes kind of go faster than most just pedaling bikes, correct? So are they supposed to use bike lanes? What do you use when you're actually riding these around the city?
Yeah, so e-bikes are definitely designed to be transportation vehicles that you can use on the roadway. And it really does make a big difference when you're cruising along at 20 miles an hour versus 12 on a standard bike. You do feel like you're fitting into the flow of traffic much more easily. And the bikes are pretty substantial vehicles, so it also gives an extra feeling of just stability on the road. So yeah, these bikes are great for using city streets. And there are several organizations around Columbus who have rides to help people feel more comfortable riding in traffic. But they can be used on bike paths as well. There are some restrictions. Bike paths have a top speed of 15 miles an hour that you're supposed to, so you've got to be cautious of that. But yeah, the bike gives you kind of full access to the city. You can use it a little bit more easily than you can a car, just because more of the pathways are open to you.
And I would just like to add just one other fine point is that I also think the thing about the e-bike is the accessibility. Again, with different people of different abilities. I would say for myself, riding even that bike ride that I said from Franklin Park to downtown would be something that would be harder for me at this point, right? Because, you know, I usually ride a bike for leisure. I don't always ride a bike to get to the places where I need to go. And so the fact that I can ride this and it's an easier ride for me, I think our hope is that it will attract more people that have some of those accessibility issues because it is an easier ride for them.
So between the sliding scale vouchers as well as the additional money given to people for safety, how much is City Council allotting to this pilot program in total?
I think it's a $250,000 investment in this project, and we call it a pilot. We want to evaluate it, make sure that it works, that we reach a diverse population of our community, and then we want to talk with our partners about how we do this again, learning from the lessons of this first phase.
How do you foresee like e-bikes and bikes being able to bring a community together, like more together? Like how does that work exactly?
So cycling at its finest is an activity for families to do together. E-bikes, as she stated, some of our family members are not in the best physical health. So being able to ride an e-bike, Kogo blesses us with e-bikes every bike ride. And I can't speak to the amount of seniors, some with physical disabilities, or some that just cannot ride a long path, love the e-bikes. They'll take the e-bikes over anything, and it still allows us to ride together as a unit. So now, you know, it can go up to 20 miles an hour, but that's if you're trying to smoke somebody. But if you're just casually riding, you can stay with the crowd, and it also allows us to be able to kind of manipulate traffic a little bit, because when you got a group of regular bikes and they're moving slowly, you don't get the chance to speed up and prepare and make sure that the crossways are clear before the rest of the ones come. So this just gives an opportunity for one, easier transit, as well as a more physical receptive mode of transportation for seniors and people who have disabilities.
I'd also like to add that there's quite a bit of research around the country about how bikes improve a local economy. So when you're on a bike, stopping at that coffee shop just is a little bit easier. You've got a little bit more incentive to get a cold beverage. And so you see a lot of that in other cities that have made big investments in bike infrastructure and culture. Is it actually is a boost to the local economy and just sort of more cohesiveness between the residents and the businesses that spring up as people are choosing modes of transportation like bike, which just makes it easier to go to places close by, get on and off your bike a little bit more quickly. So yeah, I think bikes really do add a lot to the culture in a local community.
We're happy to do one-on-ones.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.